We have with us Utkarsh, the alumnus of 97 batch PD. Um, a lot about Utkarsh will come through his presentation, so I will reserve that for him to share because he has titled it so beautifully. He's talking about when I was bitten thrice, the good, the bad, the ugly of designpreneurship. I think it says a lot about how he very firmly believed in getting bitten, of course, and also convert that into doing something not only very creative but also make sense for as a business. And this is extremely unique because whatever little talk that we had, we came across so. I mean, what do you say? With so much conviction that there are two or three questions that he keeps answering. I think in his journey. One is um, the first question that is why not do this? And the second question he's answering is, if not me, who else will do? And the third one is that he makes it, whatever he does is something it's worth it. I mean, whatever be the pains of doing is worth, the joy of doing itself is worth everything. And that's what comes across so beautifully. And I know, I mean, it's not a very easy thing for somebody to build a brand, manufacture, market, and run the operation, and do it in such a crowded space. And he has taken this space of apparel and accessories. So he develops his own brand of footwear. I think that is only part of about what he does full time. But I think his talk is more about he as a person, how he evolved in this process, and I'm sure he's going to keep us inspired and leave a lot of lessons that we can take back from this. And over to Utkarsh, and I just stop sharing and you can start yours.
So I'm not able to share my screen, Ravi. Some permission related thing?
What does it say?
The share option is grayed out.
One second.
Okay, maybe I have not joined in. I have joined in with the link that you gave for the attendees to join. So is there a special link for speaker to join?
No. Nothing of that sort. Let me see if I... I'm just checking if there is any host control or something which has come in the way. No, all is all okay.
Yeah, that is fine because we have that option of being able to share. So
Nimesh, you are able to share, is it?
Yeah, I can share because I have that option. So I guess
let me drop off and come in again.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see if it can.
Till that time, let's have some fun. Who wants to sing a song or tell a joke?
Start.
I see some nice real faces. I see Pramod Viswarkar. Pramod, how are you doing, man?
Good, Jiva.
I see more names too. Atul is there, Yogesh is there.
Hopefully this time around.
Are you getting the option now, Utkarsh? We can't hear you. You are on mute.
You're on mute, Utkarsh.
Utkarsh,
I'm
you are
able to share all together.
Ajay, can you just send us the presentation? We can share maybe.
Okay, how to send it?
You can just mail it.
I'll mail it and you
Yeah,
can share, and then I'll call for the next.
Yeah. You can send it to Ravi if you have his email ID.
I have it.
Yeah.
Utkarsh, are you using Chrome or any other browser?
I'm using Chrome. I mean, we tried it the other day, right?
Yeah.
Trial.
Sometimes Firefox and other browsers give a problem of sharing on Google.
No, I'm on Chrome. And, yes, I got the option.
You got the option.
Okay.
Super. In the nick of the time.
What did you do?
I have no idea.
Okay, that will dissect later. Yeah, please go ahead.
We'll dissect later. So now, how to... Okay. So I hope you guys can see the screen.
Yes.
Some pictures might be interesting, and of course, actually title is not given by me, it is given by Ravi only. So, good, the bad and the ugly, and some of the designpreneurship story in my journey I wanted to share. I have worked in corporate for about half of my journey. Out of the 25 years, I would have spent more than 13 years in corporate. So, partially with entertainment electronics at BPL, about a year at Sanyo in Japan, and 7 or 8 years at Honeywell. So that's the corporate side of the thing that is not part of this discussion. We're talking more designpreneurship. So this has been my journey in terms of what I did as an entrepreneur or a designpreneur. In 1999, I tried my hand at consulting. It was a very short stint, 8 or 9 months. And one of my clients, which was BPL, actually hired me. So that's how I kind of moved to Bangalore also. In 2004, I quit. I had a couple of opportunities, but this was the time when the whole .com thing was, really going well. And I kind of wanted to do something with baby products. So in 2004, I started a company which allows people to host the people used to shoot their kids on handycam and things like that. So I said, why can't we have a place where we'll just give people a place to put all these photographs and all these videos. And then, as the baby is growing, maybe you can sell them the right diapers and the right set of, feed and things like that. But didn't work. Again, short stint. In 2012 was the second innings. Actually, I met somebody from IIT Bombay who was in Met and from the same hostel, so a close friend of mine, Ganesh, and we were working at Honeywell together. This is the time when, he kept on telling me that, you're an IDC guy, what are you doing? Kab tak yahan pe chakki pisega? Kuch karega ya nahi karega? I said, look, I've already shut down 2 things, so if you want to jump on with me, then we'll have to resign and we'll have to go out. And Ganesh, who's a IIT plus a IIM plus a Bain McKinsey kind, he said, sure. I think you guys will be able to find out what is needed in this world. So I'm ready to go. So in 2012, we jumped off. We started a smart shopping app that gave you, like if you put an item saying that, okay, I want to buy sugar or I want to buy bread, it would tell you in your neighboring area, which is the best place to go and buy this. Best place means, could be anything. How long is that store open? Is there parking or not? And what's the price of this particular item? Or what's the discount on this particular? It went well. We got a bunch of subscribers. We were trending very well on the app stores. And eventually we broadened this to another company called Fab Living, where we kind of figured out that, okay, lots of Indians are, going abroad. They are now starting to eat organic food. They're looking at gourmet food. They're sort of cooking pizzas and pastas at home. So why don't we give them this? So Fab Living was one such thing in 2012. It didn't work out for us. We lost a lot of money. And in 2013, we took the payments piece of that and we created a company called Momoe. Momoe stands for Mobile Money Everywhere. It really grew well, and we actually grew to a few million subscribers. We were trending quite well. Eventually, we exited to a e-commerce company called Shopclues. And after the lock-in now, since 2020, I decided that I wanted to continue in e-commerce, and we started Flatheads, which is a brand of everyday sneakers. We create these from innovative materials and natural materials, both engineered polymers as well as natural materials. So that's the whole run of how my designpreneurship career has panned out. So what was the good, the bad, and the ugly? I thought at the outset I might actually tell you that what did I feel good about it, or what was the difficult part. So the good is like your idea, your product. Attu is not going to ask any questions. Rao is not going to poke any holes. Zero dilution. Nobody is going to tell you explore this, explore that. You can do the stuff right. So that was the good part. The sense of being able to see the world in your own light, being able to say that, yeah, this is what I feel consumers today want. So that's the best part of, jumping in. I mean, even while working with a client, you might not get this, but when you are building your own company and when you are choosing to cater to the consumer with something that you want to offer, this will be the best thing that you will encounter. The bad part, I have written some words here, things like CAC, LTV, NPS. I don't know if you guys understand these, but when I started, I also didn't understand. And one of the things that I understood was from design till delivery, there's tons of stuff that you don't know, you're not trained for, but you will nevertheless have to encounter this and you'll have to go beyond this. So sometimes the hard way, sometimes with the help of my co-founder, I learned some of these stuff. And the part to remember for all designers is that execution is more important than creative thought. And this is something that you will really have to wade through. The ugly part, of course, you will have to shoot your idea dead sometimes. And simple because people don't like it, or it's not able to make money and not able to sustain by itself. So back to my journey and what happened to these. So 4 of them shut down. But one thing I must again tell you, this is the good part of designpreneurship, is that okay, you tried your hand at something, didn't work, you go back to corporate, people will be thrilled to take you in. So as a person who's sort of taken to entrepreneurship, one thing needless to say is that opportunities or jobs are always waiting for you in the corporate. So again, something to say that there's nothing to really worry about. If it doesn't work, of course, you're not going to die on the streets. In 2013, we started Momoe. We raised quite a lot of money from venture capitalists. We grew to a few million subscribers. This was a simple app. Mobile money everywhere just stands for, today whatever you do on Phone Pay or Google Pay, exactly the same thing. Except that in those days, the bank accounts were not linked and we used to have to put an OTP every time we wanted to pay. Yes, eventually, like I said, we kind of handed this over to a larger entrepreneur. We made some money, and using that, that was not enough to retire. So obviously, again, I'm on to the next journey with Flatheads. We started Flatheads in 6 months' time. COVID came. We seem to have survived. Lots of people order from us daily, and we also started we actually started selling in the US and the UAE now. We have been invited by the Dubai Expo to go showcase our products and tell our story sometime in this month, in the middle of this month. So that's the entrepreneurial journey. One of the things that kind of struck me through all these entrepreneurial ventures, that startup is a fantastic model. It's such a great organizational model to kind of bring change. I have never seen in my 13 years in corporate, I've never seen being able to move at this pace and at this pace, at this speed, and being able to effect change so well. But then the question is, if they are such a great model, then why do so many of them fail? And what's the important factor for success? So I always wondered about this, that I'm sort of putting everything into it, and it's kind of so I always wonder whether it's the idea that is not good, or maybe, I have not built a team, or maybe there are some parts of the team that I'm not aware of, or maybe the timing is not right, or maybe I don't have enough money. So I always kind of wondered about this. A lot of people believe that money is important. If you throw money at the problem, you can solve the problem. But my opinion is that the product, the team, the business model, the resources, I think we are well trained. And both your undergrad education as well as the stuff that you learn at ITC allows you a lot of understanding of the micros, how everything is going to work. So being able to solve system problems, business model, this is all you can do. One of the things that we tend to miss is that there are something called as macros, and these may or may not come naturally to you. But again, if you kind of take the ability to look at consumer problems and just zoom out and say, can I look at consumer problems at large? Or do many people have this problem? Or can I find a problem which many people have? And so, some of these things will happen. If you are able to figure out why now, what's the change that is happening now? So these are the two questions which I feel really important when you put something out into the market. One of the things that you need to ask yourself is why now? What is changing in the world? Is lifestyle changing? What is it that is changing? And are you able to see it? And if you're not able to see it, then of course there are too many people doing it already. How big is it? Is someone ready to pay you? Are there many people who will pay you for solving this problem? So then again, you probably have figured out the timing or some of the macros that will help. When you kind of work in a problem, you will have both incremental innovation that you have to do, and sometimes you will have to do disruptive. One of the strengths that I have found as a designer is that this disruptive innovation, or the whole observation and insight-led kind of thinking, is a strong skill that we come out with our design education. The only thing that we need to do is to be able to pan this across horizons, which means, let's say Horizon 1 is something that I'm going to put out next week. Horizon 2 is probably something saying that, okay, next year I want to launch a smart shoe. But you should also be able to look at Horizon 3 and say that, hey, what's going to happen to the overall story of footwear or the universe of footwear in 10 years' time? Are people, can I just sell like NFT tokens for digital avatars of people? And, I don't really have to manufacture shoes. So being able to understand what is the future or predict the future of your own business is something that you have to kind of inculcate. And both parts, the micro, which is the incremental and data driven, so your eyes should be both there. You keep on shifting gears to kind of say that, okay, now, something is kind of being liked by people. So let me try to put in some incremental stuff there. And then also look at some disruptive kind of thinking. One of the things, again, that I learned is that businesses that are successful, ventures that are successful tend to have low CAC. CAC stands for customer acquisition cost. One of the questions that people like me have to answer is that how will somebody find me? I have this wonderful thing, fantastic stuff, I made it, and I figured out, I've industrially designed it and I've industrially produced it. Now how are people going to come to know about it? And believe it or not, the customer acquisition cost or being able to let people know that, hey, here's the fantastic product, can be very, very expensive. Whatever it is, whether it's a footwear, whether it's apparel, whether it's a piece of digital property, like my previous venture, Momoe, it was an app. So how do you get people to download it? There are like more than a few billion apps on the App Store, on the iPhone store. So how will you get it? So one of the things that you have to learn, this is a skill set that, anybody who wants to move into this whole designpreneurial thing, growth hacking. Growth hacking means how to find more customers with less costs of advertising and less costs of marketing. Here are a couple of examples. So little more anecdotally and little bit of the story. When we started Momoe, We said, yeah, I mean, hardly 5 people are downloading and, these are my friends or, my friend's friend. And it's not going to work like this. So we said, okay, we have worked with a bunch of companies, so let us go and ask, or let's go and ask some larger startups whether they will give us space in their lobby or their cafeteria. So we went, we asked people like Honeywell, like Flipkart. They said, yeah, sure, no problem. The admin guy came and said, yeah, no problem. Itna square feet ka itna paisa lagta. So I said, boss, this is like, okay, not doable. So since the cost was going in lakhs, we decided we have to find a hack around this. So anyway, we kind of figured out that outside every IT company in Bangalore, there were tea stalls where people, who can't sit inside and smoke, so they have to come outside to drink this tea. So all the employees or, the socially active employees will be found at these tea stalls. So we went to the tea stall guy and we said, hey, look, we will give 50% off on your tea and you will get tons of business. But can we have a couple of people stand here and will you tell them pay through the app so that they get 50%? And it worked tremendously in our favor. A couple of earned media. Earned media means press reporting you saying that, wow, digital payments is coming to the tea stall. And we titled this campaign as Dhai Ki Chai, or get a cup of tea for 2 rupees 50 paisa. It was a runaway success. This is how we got our first 10,000 downloads. And those 10,000 downloads in turn referred and it kind of started growing. This is when we ended up raising some funds. We used to power a lot of toll roads in Bangalore. So our proposition was very simple. Pay with your phone when you eat out, shop or commute. And we went to this toll road in Bangalore called the Nice Toll Road, which was one of the first of its kind public-private partnership. And I said that, look, I have a solution which will allow cars to move without having to wait at the boom barrier. I said, how? So we showed them. And they jumped onto it and they asked me, how much is it going to cost me to enable the system? I said, it's not going to cost you anything. You just have to give me one separate lane and you have to give me hoardings. Normally, if you try to put up a hoarding like this in Bangalore or in a populous place, it will cost you something like 5 lakhs a week or 10 lakhs a week, depending on where you are putting it. They said, all you need to do is give me space. And they gave, you can see on the right side, there's a line of vehicles, but on the lane where we were allowed to do lane 2, it's empty. And that's just because people are able to zoom. When this happened, we started getting unlimited. Customers started seeing that, okay, here's a lane which is empty, so why don't I go there? And if you go there, then you have to download the app. And so fantastic. Every day we used to get tens of thousands of downloads and unbelievable number of transactions. And that's how we kind of growth hacked our way. This is the new venture. The reason I have put this picture is just to say that when you are out of the digital world, then prototyping is key. And tons of those prototypes we make to check the fibers, to check thread counts, to check whether the breathability is there or not. Just an illustration that if I was not there as a designer in this company, I don't think so many prototypes would have been made before we put the product out in the market. Being data driven, this is something that I have realized, and also a hard transition. But then eventually, as I went into the digital world, I kind of realized that here's such a fantastic opportunity that, using this whole system called as A/B testing, I can make 5 different designs for my website and put them out to different geographies in this country. And within hours, I will come to know where people are able to kind of, glide through and where people are not able to glide through. So this is something that we continuously use. We make 2 or 3 releases every week. We have put in data funnels which says that, okay, how many people come to the website, how many are moving into the product listings, to the product display or product details, how many are putting it in their cart, how many are checking. We check these funnels and micro funnels by age, by geography, by gender, And then we are able to kind of figure out that, okay, this is something that kind of gets people to glide through. This is a great experience for them, and this is not such a great experience for them. So being able to use data to choose or to decide which design is better is something which is fantastic, and something that again we should try and inculcate. Why designpreneurship? So yes, one of the questions leading to this talk was why designpreneurship? Design-led companies have consistently performed on the stock market. A lot of them are becoming unicorns and decagons. You take the example of Airbnb, started by two designers from Rhode Island, and probably one of the most valued companies on the planet right now. I meet a bunch of investors regularly. They genuinely believe that good design is good business. A lot of times they ask me the question that why aren't people from your stream, your discipline, or your zone, why aren't they taking to entrepreneurship more strongly? What's the India opportunity for new designpreneurs? Increasing disposable incomes. But more than that, I feel that Indians are traveling abroad, they have internet, they are getting tremendous amount of global exposure. They are able to understand, and they are starting to become a discerning audience. The whole era of horizontal e-commerce is like a Amazon or a Flipkart, where you get everything of everything and you get it at a bargain price. Vertical e-commerce is like Myntra, which is like, okay, we do fashion and we do apparel and we do it really well. But these two genres of e-commerce are changing. Original thought and original story is beginning to matter. This decade is supposed to be the decade of D2C brands, direct to customer. So just like Flatheads, we don't have any distributors. We sell from the day we started. We are able to sell across India, and we are able to ship and get the products within mostly we can get it within 2 days. About 10 to 15% goes beyond 3 days, and about a very small percentage in single digit goes to 6 days. These are like Northeast or places where connectivity is very. The infrastructure is built out for launching new ideas. What do I mean by infrastructure? You want to start an e-commerce store, jump onto Shopify. You probably don't need a tech person in your group. You want to ship, there is tons of third-party logistics. You want a warehouse. There are players who will get you the warehouse within the next 10 days, get all your registration and your compliances sorted. So infrastructure is ready for launching new ideas. It's a decade for Indian brands to come out. And lastly, I think the questions are getting bigger. How will we crack out proof of city? People are asking me to consult with them on how to charge electric vehicles. People are asking me that, how can we build Indian brands for Indian lifestyles? And that's why I think designpreneurship is something that is here to stay, or I strongly believe that people should put their hand to it. And yes, Ravi, as I promised, keep the talk short. Last piece of advice, never lose an idea to evangelize your own idea. So we have launched a new bunch of sneakers. Some are made from banana fiber, which is taken from the discarded banana stems. Some are, one of the new things that I always wanted to do was to bring linen into shoes. So we have a linen shoe. And then we have two engineered versions. One is with the Cooltex fiber, that is the sweat wicking fiber. And for the next 10 days, we are taking pre-orders. So please try us out and give me some feedback. And that's about it. Hope it was interesting for you guys. I'll stop presenting, and we are at 9:35, so in good time.
You have done it in very good time, Utkarsh. Very, very nicely laid out. Very, very inspiring.
So my opinion is that beyond 15 to 16 slides and beyond 20, 22 minutes,
Correct.
Attention span dwindling, that too at 9 p.m. I'm not very sure.
You're used to designing shoes to fit the foot, so I trust you. Okay,
folks.
To the forum. Any of you have any questions? Maybe start with one question at the most each, and then if there is a time, you can always come to the second question. Please go ahead, anybody. I think Yogesh is ready.
Utkarsh, great talk. I actually made notes. So, very interesting. So, particularly on the materials that you're talking about. So, are these materials that you're kind of taking from somebody who's already researched them, or you are coming out of it? Because I don't think you are into material research. Or
we are into material research.
Okay.
But we are very strongly application driven, and we do only that much focused research what we need. So, for example, what's the insight here? The insight is that from childhood, whatever shoes I have been wearing, my feet are always cooking in these shoes. The kind of feeling that I get on my body with a t-shirt or with a shirt, that feeling is not there in the shoes. They're always cooking. The rest of the body has one kind of a feel, and the shoes have a different kind of feel. So I kind of figured out that why is it happening? Is it because, so one of the simple things, you look at any sneakers or footwear, they always have some padding. People feel that in order to give comfort, you have to put padding or foam in the shoes. So once the resinous foam comes, then it actually kills the breathability. So why can't we have one single layer of fabric which is stretchy, which will accommodate your foot, and just like a shirt, put it on and you go out. So we started researching, and we started with natural fibers. We first tried bamboo yarn, and the reason we tried bamboo yarn was that when I actually personally went and touched some bamboo t-shirts and things, they were cooler. So due to moisture retention, they are like a couple of degrees cooler. So I said, this problem I need to solve. So that's why we put bamboo. And the research is limited to what kind of thread count to use, or how to knit it in a particular way, what kind of structure for knitting I can put, so that it will cross the abrasion and the tear resistance. So there is material research, but it is limited to certain particular parameters and particular kind of things we do. So we are the world's third company in the world to introduce bamboo fiber. Only Baobabs and Cariuma in Brazil have done this. As far as banana fiber is concerned, as far as cotton linen is concerned, I think we are first to market globally.
Yeah, that gives me an idea for your advertisement. Somebody slips over a banana and gets made into a shoe. Anyway, thanks, Utkarsh.
Okay.
Very insightful. Thanks.
Okay, some people are asking in the chat.
Yeah.
Can you share what happened at the time of funding? Were there any challenges or difficulties in the process? No, there was no difficulty. The difficulty was before the funding. Once investor made up his mind to invest in your company, like they want to put a couple of $1 million, then there were not many challenges. Of course, there was a lot of negotiation and there was a lot of legalities, but very early on we kind of figured out that we need very strong and good legal people to fight for us. So we paid a slightly exorbitant fee to get that person on our side, and because of that the difficulties did go. Okay, Pushkar is asking a tech idea versus Flatheads product would require hugely different approaches in CAC. Yes, CAC with Flatheads is definitely higher. The hacks are difficult to come by, and businesses like Facebook and Google. See, okay, before that, before we go to the CAC, I'll try to explain one phenomenon. It's called the broadcasting versus narrowcasting. When we were kind of studying in IDC, it was all broadcasting. You came up with something new, you put it on a hoarding, or you put it on radio, or you put it in the newspaper. And we try to do an ad in Bangalore Times, not the Times of India, the Bangalore Times of India. So the front page, they asked for 25 lakhs for running it, one print ad for one time. So I said, this is definitely not. Contrary to that, if you look at Google is an advertising company and Facebook is an advertising company. They are neither social media nor search engines. They are 100% marketing and advertising companies. But they allow us to narrowcast. Narrowcast means you can choose what age group, what gender, what geography, what tastes, what interests. You can even do things like, okay, I want to target people whose birthday is today. So it allows us to narrowcast. Now, in this whole narrowcasting thing, what happens is people like Facebook and Google pretty much have a chokehold on a business which is a D2C business and is selling shoes. So there are some hacks there. You can use other people's networks. You can go find some celebrities. You can find people who are so-called influencers or who make YouTube videos, and they have in turn got 1 million followers, couple of million followers, and you can go that route to open up other people's networks for you. We have found that Facebook generally throttles any organic posts and anything that people write about it. But you can always use LinkedIn, which kind of, since we are targeting the urban workforce, our LinkedIn posts are able to generate 100,000 views on a generic basis, and so that's kind of that's the kind of CAC that we have at Flatheads. We spend about 30% of the money in marketing our products. And okay, back to Rohan. Thanks for replying. My question was processed prior to that, since you didn't have the Shark Tank at that time. Okay, Rohan. So in 2013-14, the VC ecosystem in India is quite well matured. And while there is no Shark Tank at that time, but I'll tell you that just like you are a person with an idea who's looking for funding, right? But please believe me that the venture capitalists are people who have money and they are looking for innovative companies. They are looking for great founders, and they have people who are scouts, and those scouts are actually looking for you. They are searching. They meet as many as 10 to 12 startups every day. Apart from that, there are various events which can happen, which are like product conclaves. NASSCOM organizes a bunch of them. The startup communities organizes a bunch of them. The VCs organize a bunch of them. So you should be present and you should pitch. And in today's world, as simple as that, everybody, any VC worth his shirt will have reach out to us or schedule an appointment with us, and they will give you the time. Whether they will give you the money or not, I don't know, but they will definitely give you the time. Hope that answers your question. How to safeguard your idea while pitching a new idea? I think you should get beyond, this is my opinion, is that we should get beyond trying to, okay, I have this idea, so I want to cocoon it, hide it, and I don't want to share. So this will actually kill you. Even if somebody copies, it doesn't really matter, because I honestly believe, I have seen that the whole success is in the execution part. And so if somebody copies your idea but not able to execute, so don't worry, you will still make it. And the other part is, as soon as you get it, please put it in the market. Please go and say that I am the first to put linen sneakers in the world. I am the first. And by the time people catch up to you, then you can invent something more. So, well, I have tried patenting. It is really expensive and it's not very enforceable. So I believe that going to the market and let people know that you are the creator of this idea is the best way. How do you apply A/B test to shoes? No, we really don't apply A/B tests. It's a controlled procedure, Nimish. We apply A/B ideas for the website, what kind of pictures we put, which colors to put on the website, or which are the banners that are working. So that's where we do the A/B tests. And for shoes, it's a traditional process. We have a set of people who try our shoes. We mark them and we sometimes pay them also. And we try about 50 to 60 fit tests before. We make a bunch of prototypes which are slightly varied in size, and then whichever is the one which fits. We also cross this by means of having a single layer of fabric. So since our fabric stretches, obviously half a size here and there doesn't matter so much for me as much as it matters for a Nike. Any future expansion to specialty shoes? What's next in the portfolio? So Jivak, we started with just men's shoes for the last 1 year. We are moving into women's shoes with this launch, and we will get to, at some point, we'll get to a little more of the smart shoes. We are trying to keep to the larger audience, and we are avoiding specialty zones for the moment. That's because we are just bootstrapped and angel funded at the moment. But we will get there eventually. And like I said, it's pretty much it's going to be a long journey, a little more of the life's work in the second startup. Any high-tech shoes in the offing?
Before you go back to, a lot of shoes-related questions, but I'm more keen on the designpreneurship idea.
Designpreneurship, okay.
I have a question. See, how important is, you mentioned it, it came through the presentation somewhere. How important is the co-founder who is looking at the business side? And I think you just made a remark in the passing that you found this person, worked with this person. But I'm saying is designpreneurship demands a partner who is able to do the other side, or can design themselves can do? It's a question I'm trying.
I think co-founder is necessary. It may not be necessary to have somebody with complementary skill set, or it's not like because I'm a designer, I should have an MBA as my co-founder. No, it's not going to work like that. Somebody else also asked this question, Kaustubh Limay, thoughts on co-founder and core team. So, my opinion, you need a co-founder because sometimes this journey can be really overwhelming, and many days, it can be very, very depressing for you. Two reasons. One is that simply put, money is getting over, and bank balance is no longer in lakhs; it is coming into thousands. So these can be very challenging times. So being able to have a partner, like, for me, luckily, I found somebody who was studying at IIT BM. He was studying BTech Mech, and he was in the hostels with me. So that camaraderie or that chemistry was very important. Mm-hmm. We bumped into each other after 15 years. Mm-hmm. And so that chemistry is very important. The value system of both, not only both, if you can have as many as 3, 4, 5 co-founders, but the value system should rhyme. Value system means there should be no fights between you, or am I going to deploy some some non-compliant ways of selling? Am I going to use some non-ethical hacks? So these questions should never come. And that, I feel, the value system matching is very important. The chemistry is very important. And why do you need a co-founder? You need a co-founder because when the journey becomes tough, it's like when you are like a nitrogen, then some oxygen has to come. So your co-founder is that oxygen. Mm-hmm. And when he or she becomes nitrogen, then you have to give the oxygen. So that's how the journey kind of goes along. And core members, I would say, again, should be very handpicked. You should make sure that you spend at least a couple of weeks with them, both formally and informally, before you get people onto your core team. So generally when we hire, nowadays what we are saying is Saturday, Sunday, come and work with us. Couple of Saturday, Sundays people come work with us. They also get a chance to figure out, whether they like it or they don't like it. Sometimes they don't like it. And so the marriage is off and we part as friends. And so that's, I think, very, very important, because one interview, an hour long, is never going to be able to tell you whether the person should be in your core team or not. which other ideas and how did you finalize? Auntie is asking. I had a ton of ideas. So we wanted actually to get into the food area. And I'll tell you some 2 or 3 very funny ideas that we had. So one of the things we wanted to do was, I'm sure you guys have heard of Red Bull. And their ad says Red Bull gives you wings. So one of our insights, and so we are also mature entrepreneurs. We are on the right side of 40, bordering 50. So we said that first in this life, all these urban people who are there, they don't need wings. They're already stressed. They're not able to sleep. They need something which... So our first idea was to try and make something which is the exact opposite of Red. And which will allow you to get a nice calm kind of we also tried some experiments with Ayurvedic stuff, but then eventually in discussion with some of the investors, we kind of figured out that it will be very hard to kind of tell people that this is going to put you to sleep. And most of them will kind of say that, okay, it has got something, some nasha part of the thing will come into the picture. So we gave that up. We also tried some healthy snack ideas. And our healthy snack idea was very simple. We wanted something soft, not something like a biscuit or a cookie, but something that feels like food. We tried a few experiments and we gave it up. We wanted to do infused water. We tried a small batch, but eventually we realized that the production run is going to, has to be like 1 million liters or something like that. And so we gave it up. We moved finally into apparel, and shoes has been something that I have been looking at for the last 10-20 years. I personally own at any point of time 100 or 200 pairs of shoes. Not necessarily to always wear them, but many times I buy them to cut and see what is there. Okay. So we also decided to buy shoes. So Ravi, contrary to the belief that it's a very crowded market, it is not, because the rest of the folks are only trying to cater to the lower segments. Okay. And they are playing in a market where there is no differentiation. Then there's a bunch of people who sell on Amazon. They go to China, they buy a bunch of shoes, they put their label, and they put it. You'll be surprised to know that brands like Benetton, US Polo, you look at US Polo catalog and Benetton catalog, both will be same. Only logo will be different. Why? Because they're going to the China factory and buying from there. So we kind of figured out that Indian audience is asking questions like this, unless there is a story, I don't know. You're selling something general, I will go and I'll find the least price and I will buy. So now least price means unless and until you are able to put differentiation, those who can buy more quantity, they will buy it in less price, they will sell it in less price, and they will win the market. So we said that no, well designed, form design, material design, with the story, why this shoe is good for you, let me sell, people will buy.
There is an interesting question from Atish. Wants to know about how do you cope up when previous startups fail. I think it's a very important thing because you have gone through that.
Okay, any other questions? How do you deal with issues when you and your co-founder don't agree? So we have an agreement on which issues my opinion will be taken and on which issues his opinion will be taken. And if it's a deadlock, then finally CEO's opinion will matter. So far, in both the organizations that I started, last time we were 4 co-founders, now we are 2 co-founders. In the previous one, the rest of the 3 co-founders were all IIT plus IIM. In the new venture also, my co-founder is IIT plus IIM, but they have said that you will be the CEO. Because you have one unique thing, which is being able to find what the consumer wants. And our business is going to be successful because you are able to find out what this consumer is thinking, what's going on in his mind, and you are going to be able to get this insight like, I want to put t-shirt on people's feet. So, be the CEO. Once you show how to climb the mountain and how to reach the top, then we can build cranes. All MBAs can come and build cranes and they can move the people up and down hundreds of times. But first thing to be done, you have to do it.
There is one on failures, you want to comment on that? Atish has asked. How do you cope?
How do you cope?
Yeah.
Nothing. I told you, no, you are IDC graduate, so people are going to employ you. So don't worry. You can always go and find some work for yourself.
But how did you move from that idea?
How do you cope? So cope, there is a little bit of coping to be done that, your baby which you have nurtured for so long, it's not doing well. So how do you take the hatchet? So that's a very challenging thing. Sometimes it happens automatically because you are not able to fund it, or people are not able to buy, or your price is too high. So automatically it dwindles and it dies down. A slow death. Sometimes you realize that people are not going to pay me for this, and you need to be very strong to take that step. How to cope? Co-founders, I think, find some more work, family, or simply put, if you have a lot of curiosity and you have a lot of other ideas that are coming, you can say that okay, this was one idea, experiment tha, chhod do, dusra experiment karenge. As long as you are not, I felt that as long as you are not hung up your boots and you have a second, third, fourth innings going to come, or next match going to come, you can say, okay, it didn't work, I will play well in the next one. So that's the way you can cope with it.
There is a question specific by Charuta.
IDC jury prepares you for coping. Yes, it does.
Utkarsh, there is a question by Charuta about talks of Indian anthropometry for fleet sizes. Do you have any comment on that?
Yes, we have tried something similar. We use last makers who have the data of the Indian foot, and we built a few. Last is actually a replica. It's not a replica of the foot, but it's something that shapes the shoe. There are 2 or 3 dimensions which are very important. Length, of course, the toe box room. So it's the curve or the distance, and the ball of the feet. So there are some 3 or 4 important dimensions which we always try to check. There is no clear-cut anthropometric data that you can look at a data book and measure it. But people who are last makers have this data embedded with them. They won't share that data, but if you go with a specific requirement, they will build it for you. Considering labor production, is it making white labeling shoe viable? White labeling, we don't manufacture it ourselves. We lease the factories. We go and get it manufactured on a contract basis from someone. And we don't invest in the machines, we don't invest in the factory, we don't invest, or we don't take the labor compliances and stuff like that. It will be too hard for a company that is, 1 year in existence to try and do all these things. It will need a ton of capital. So, who are we? We are people who design it, we prototype it, we make it, we do the research in the materials, and that's our thing. And then, of course, we market it and we own the customer part of the journey. And if anything is wrong, then it's on us. But somebody is manufacturing to our specifications. White labeling is okay, but you can't be a person who is in between and white labeling. Either you are a factory, that factory will white label for something. If you are designing, then you have to design for your own.
Nimish has a very grand question for you.
Many designers believe that advertising is evil. What are your thoughts? I don't think advertising is evil. Like I already said, how will people come to know what you are making? How will they come? So I feel that there is an ethical component to advertising and there is a non-ethical component to advertising. Advertising is simply letting people know what you are doing and why you are doing it and your story. And you need to, you need to be able to market it. I will tell you that 75% of any company's expenses goes in marketing. And regarding its ethical or its evil, I think if you are saying stuff that you are not doing, then it's evil. And if you are pretty much saying what you are doing and you are willing to stand up to it, then it's not evil. Simple answer. There is no... If you don't advertise, people will not come to know who you are.
I think it also goes back to a much deeper question in terms of designers like users but hate markets in the sense, oh, that is marketing stuff. It's all to do with some fluffy stuff, and I want to do something which is real problem, communicate real value. I think a lot of this is also built around that. Yes.
See, today, let me tell you that our business model is reach people online and serve them online. Okay, so for the people who are online, I don't think you can bullshit them anyways. So even if you want to, please stay away from it. You can't bullshit. Rather than that, you do something good and you be best at it and say that I am best at it. And of course, there's a back channel also with digital advertising that people will tell you that, hey, no, you are not. So then you take that feedback and you kind of build it.
We are at 9:59. Maybe just one more question. Somebody wants to know about your prototyping process. Whether you can do it in a minute, I don't know, but you can attempt.
Prototyping is very complex, especially on the sole part. It is very complex because we need molds. We have tried rapid prototyping. It doesn't work because the thing doesn't flex. So it is challenging.
Atul, you need to go on mute.
Okay. He was not asking the question.
No.
So we use traditional methods. We get thermocol, we cut it, kind of do the loops. We make a 3D prototype. We figure out how it is going to fit, but the flex is not there. Eventually, if we are ready, then we make a mold out of it. And so that's the point where the investment has to solidify, and you have to be sure that you are going to put this in the market. The rest of the prototyping is not that difficult. You can cobble together a pair of shoes using a simple machine with a round foot, and you can stitch it yourself. So we right now have 2 or 3 designers. One is from NID product, one is from IDC product, and we are able to do a lot of prototyping on our own. Sometimes instead of the fabric, we use flexible sheets to kind of cut and stick and stitch them. And eventually, when we get the fit right, we actually manufacture a few prototypes ourselves.
I think with this, we should close the session with probably some observation that on behalf of the group I want to make, Utkarsh. One is that it was a very interesting idea into this concept of designpreneurship, and one is to hear that as a concept, but here to see that through a person who is practicing was extremely exciting, very inspiring, and you kind of probably forcing a lot of us and provoking a lot of us into why not stuff of yours. I think it's very good, and I think you also covered quite a bit about the working with the co-founder, and also there are 2 things that he spoke about. One, especially timing as a very important element in this whole thing. All I think when you go back and think about what you have said, it certainly will make us think through and then relook at what we do very differently. And I know that you have said you have bitten thrice, and I'm sure you will be bitten more and more times. And every time you are bitten, I think you kind of come out with a totally radically different idea. That's what you could see. You also exposed what it means to be bitten, not just about some thing hitting you, but each bite has also I can see that change, transformation in terms of how you explored different areas, different kind of businesses, and where you are is such a stunning representation of all of these thoughts that you collectively put together. So on behalf of this group, I thank you very much. Thanks for taking your time and putting this together. And the recording of this, we will post it in the forum, and so that people who missed it probably will get a chance to see it. And more than anything, I think we'll also, I'm very kicked to actually go and try out the footwear, and I will do that for sure. And I'm sure many of us will do that.
See, advertising, I already told Nimish, advertising works. As an entrepreneur, you should never be ashamed to evangelize your idea. Always be telling about your ideas. Can't help it. You have to survive.
Correct.
But anyway,
Go ahead, sorry.
Really happy to see like more than 50 people together. Of course, a lot of people I know, and so happy to see Utkarsh sir also. He was my final year guide. So it was like really good, and also to kind of share something that people are not realized. I also wanted to end this quickly and see if there are questions and if the chat box is kind of vibing as well. So that also tells me whether talk was interesting or it was not interesting.
I think Utkarsh sir has one question.
Sure.
Did it look like a jury again?
No, this was a really nice, because I had the answers.
I just wanted to compliment you. I see two Utkarsh, both are 25 years old. One of them who passed IDC, and the other one is 25 years later. And you have still remained so modest in spite of your success. It's a wonderful thing to see you. That's the reason why I kind of attended it. Please
Thank you
keep
so
it
much,
up.
sir.
All the best for your endeavors. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, with that note, I think we should conclude this session and see you all again next week. I will post the details of the next week's presentation. It's something very interesting. We are inviting an architect who actually practices natural building. So it's going to be a very totally different session next week. I will send the details soon. And thanks to all of you. Thanks to Utkarsh. Thanks to all the participants. And have a great rest of the week, and see you again next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Utkarsh.
Thank you, Utkarsh.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.